Hello everybody, it's the Warhipster here, coming at you with another Sprue review video. Yes, we are on a roll with these this year. Granted, the year isn't that old, but we're on a roll nonetheless. Yes, today we are taking a look at the new Aeldari model kits. Yes, Games Workshop have very kindly sent them all to me early to build up and review. We'll get to that in a minute. So a massive thank you to them for doing that. Now, we do have Lycus, however you're supposed to say it, Baharoth, Fugan, Assaman, we have Warp Spiders, Fire Dragons, and Swooping Hawks. And here on the channel you can already see videos on how to paint Swooping Hawks, Warp Spiders, and Fire Dragons. So I'm just going to tell you now, we're not painting them again. At least in the same colours. For now. But what we haven't done on the channel is all of the Phoenix Lords. So that's what we are going to be doing. I just wanted to say that now, because I know everyone's going to want to know if I'm going to do a how to paint fire dragons. I've already done it. Warp spiders, already done it. Swooping hawks, already done it. Striking scorpions, already done it. It's all here. The only one I haven't done is howling banshees and dark reapers. So maybe we'll have to do those eventually. Anyway, we have all of the Aeldari stuff, and well, this video is going to be kind of a sort of a slightly strange one in that I'm trying my hardest to just talk about the model kits that are in front of me, but I think you guys know from watching my streams and stuff like that, if you do watch my streams, then you know I'm not the biggest fan of this range release. I'm probably the only one, and I have my reasons, but I'm gonna try and keep those out of it. I try. I can't promise that I will, but I'm gonna try. But if you're excited for Codex Aeldari and all the things that come with it, then please do let me know down in the comments. Also, if you could leave a like on this video, that would be very kind of you. It is a free way to support the channel after all. And of course, one of the best ways you can support the channel for free is to hit that subscribe button. That would be exceptionally kind of you. I would really appreciate that. Thanks. So without further ado, let's jump in to the Aeldari. Space Elves! Alright, let's get this show on the road. So we often start with characters, and I don't think today should be any different. So we're going to start with the one I think is the weakest redesign. Sorry, it's Assaman, because it's exactly the same. It's just taller and rounder. Oh, we might be saying that a lot. So let's get this one open, shall we? And have a look. Now, one thing I'm interested to find out with these Aeldari releases is whether or not these kits are going to be simple and elegant, or if they're going to be massively complicated. Because that is a worry here, is that this is going to be a sprue with like 21 components on it somehow. Okay, it doesn't look too bad. Okay, Assaman, that's a point in your favour. For now. Okay, so, no options. Absolutely no options, I would imagine. We have... Oh, no, we do. We have... No, we don't. I jumped the gun there. So, we actually have, there's 12, 13, 14 components plus a base. He is on a 40mm base, so that's quite the significant glow up. He is much, much taller than he was before, and there you go. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14. It's in order. That's a nice thing. We like that. Maybe they are going to be simple and elegant. That would be really cool. So yeah, components all in order. It's not going to be one of those weird ones where you glue component 1 to component 7 or anything like that. That is excellent. Okay, so pop that to one side. Here is our 40mm round base, and here is our first of the sprues, and it's bent. Look at that. That's quite the incline. Ooh, there you go. You can really see it on that angle there, like that. Okay, interesting. Hopefully that doesn't affect our components too much. Oh, mine also came with a hair. Probably one of mine, let's face it. Right, so starting up here, we can We look at the sword, and we have a connection point on the back of the blade, not on the cutting edge, which is absolutely lovely. We have a connection point right here on the pommel of the sword, and then one here right there on the crossguard, and that's going to be quite a kind of fiddly, congested area to try and get your clipper in. So just be careful around here that you don't accidentally take the crossguard off, and when you're actually doing your kind of clean up with your knife or mold line remover, again, just watch out that you don't end up kind of taking too much off or applying too much pressure, because you might snap it. That's very spindly just there. We have a leg just here, component number 4, where we're connected on one of the kind of, for lack of a better word, we're just going to call them lumps now. The lumps in Aeldari armor, because it's not a spirit stone, it's just the kind of sort of, well, lumps that they have on the armor. We have one right here on that rounded part. That's really annoying. And then here, right on the front of the knee as well, and because he's orientated in such a way where he's standing like this, the knees will be directly facing out, so you want to be really careful here. Just make sure you get that nice and smooth. It's not going to matter so much on the back because the cloak is going to cover it. That's okay if you kind of gouge that one up a little bit too much, but here on the front of the knee, absolutely critical that you get that right, because again, it'll be really obvious. And the same thing happens over here on component number 3 as well, identical. So that's 2 levels of irritation here and here. I need to calm down. Next up, we have a piece of terrain just here where we're connected around the outside of the rock. That's absolutely fine. Same here for this bit, no problem whatsoever. It's just kind of is what it is, but it's okay. We have the armor piece, the kind of the shoulders, where we're connected on that flat edge just there, which will go over the top of the kind of backpack housing, and then right here on the kind of front of the pauldrons, which is a really kind of tricky little area that's actually quite curved around the here on the connection point on that side. And same on this one. It's really congested, really kind of fiddly area, so you might want to clip it back here so you can see what you're doing as you clean it up. Up to you, of course. There we go. That's looking a little bit better. The cloak here is actually pretty good. We're connected here on the top, where presumably this is going to slot over the top of that one, and then twice on the underside of the cloak here and here. The cloak isn't in 2 pieces. That's really good. We like that. It's just a single piece of plastic. It's not connected down here. It's not on the front. It's not on the smooth, flat surfaces at all. So it should be nice and easy to deal with. We have the body over here connected on the underside of the tabard, and then right there on a strap, so chest strap, and here on the kind of the armpit connection point, which is just about okay. We can just about live with that. The head, we're connected on the underside. That is a peg there, which you want to keep. That will be your guide marker for where the head drops into the torso. And then we're connected twice, once and twice there in the mohawk, which is a bit of a shame because that needs to be nice and smooth. There's also a nice chunky mold line on top of that as well, just as FYI, so watch out for that one. We've got another piece of the kind of, actually no, that is a part of the cloak, so it's not just a single piece, but it is going to go in here, and there's actually a sort of groove thing going on here, so it will just slide right in. So actually we're still going to give that a good mark for that, but this piece will slide into it, so you might get a little bit of a gap, but it is kind of designed in a way, I hope, to not give you one, which looks pretty good. Connected here as well on the underside of the magazines for the shuriken pistols, and on the other side of the cloak here. This one's going to be a little bit tricky. You don't want to take too much off there because it does slot in right there. There's just a little kind of angle on it. There you go, you can see it against my finger. It's going to go there. So if you take too much off, you will create a gap either up here or down there if you take too much off and push it right in. So watch out for that. Finally, we have the, well actually there's 3 more pieces. We have the entirety of the backpack assembly with the big banner. We're connected on the top part of the flag there. We're connected right in the searchlight on the front of the lens. That's a big no-no. That's supposed to be a really flat, smooth edge. That's not very good. And then we're connected here on the underside of it. This one's okay. This is right on the rounded part of the banner, so again, just move with the curvature of the pieces with your knife or mold line remover. Just be careful around there. That is an absolute sin. We're connected here on the arm, and no, it's different on this one. This arm is connected on the kind of the guide peg there, so this is okay. Again, just don't take too much off, because otherwise you'll lose the orientation. And then we're connected on the magazine, and then on the underside, right on the end of the barrel as well. So again, you just want these nice smooth areas, so just be careful with how much pressure you're applying with your knife or mold line remover. It's the same would go for this one, but you are connected actually here on the musculature of the armor, but it's not so bad because it's on the underside right in the armpit, so it should be easy to cover if you apply too much pressure and take too much off. So all in all, it's not a great sprue. It's not a bad one either. Depends on how long it takes to put together and whether or not we have any gaps in that cloak. So we shall figure out how long it takes to build Asserman, or a sermon, however you're supposed to say it. You can tell me in the comments. Okay, that was a hell of a journey. One thing I will point out is I actually glued the cape on wrong at first, because the connection points where the cape goes in here are exactly the same as the ones that face outwards, so I just got it wrong. Pays to pay attention, you know? But I am human after all. Anyway, next up we're going to do a model that I think is absolutely fantastic. It's breathtaking, and well, I'm interested to see how complicated this one is going to be. We're going to do Baharoth, Cry of the Wind, I think is what its full name was a long time ago. They're just Baharoth here. So we're just going to get this one open. There we go. Let's have a look. Let's see. What do you reckon? 17 components maybe? Or less. Ooh. Oh, it looks like quite a few. Okay. Let's see, is this one all in order? Well, everything's in order, I hope. Oh, we've got an actual booklet here rather than a fold out. So we have not got the components in order by the looks of things. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14. 14 components, but 2 comes right at the end for some reason. Why? 1, 2, 3. So 2 is missing. 1, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 2. 14 components in total. Okay. Well, it's a proper booklet, so it is a little bit more intensive, this one, but it should be significantly larger than Asserman. So let's have a look at that sprue, shall we? And first things first, this is much straighter. It's not warped. It's a little bit of a curve from here to here, but it's not like that, which the Asserman sprue was. Anyway, it's looking pretty good. So we will start by looking at this sprue. Oh, there's a little Warhammer logo there. Haven't noticed that before. Anyway, next we'll start up here on the feather, because we actually have 3 connection points, 1, 2, 3, right in the feather, which is a little bit of a shame. It's supposed to be quite textured there, but you can end up kind of losing some of that texture around the outside of these pieces, well, particularly on something like a feather, when you have all those connection points in there. And the fact that there's 3 makes that quite a busy component. Could have probably get away with 2 there, but there we go. We have the front of the body, and this is our shoulders are going to be completely in half. So that's one thing I will praise Asserman for, is that the shoulders were a single piece that lapped over like that, rather than this, which is 2 shoulder pieces that go together like so. So That's a bit of a shame because it means we might have a bit of a gap going on, but we shall have to find out. We have a connection point right there on the seam of it, so that might not be the same over here. Okay, we don't have 2 connection points on the same seam, which is good. So it means we should be able to keep it reasonably together. It might be that we just want to cut these both out at the same time and smooth them down together with your knife or mold line remover, just so that you kind of eliminate that gap possibility. But there we go. We then, once again, like Asserman, we have a connection point there on that kind of chest strap. We've already kind of pointed it out down here, component 3. This is nice because it's connected in both of the armpits. However, like I said, it is the shoulders are going to be in half, so maybe from a top-down perspective we might have that gap, so you just have to watch out for that. The wings here and here. So one thing that's quite nice about these is that they're connected on the feathers, which I know sounds like a bit of a contradiction based on this, but these are smooth bladed feathers basically. So these should be reasonably easy here, here and here, and similarly over here, here and here to smooth down. We do have a connection point on the underside of the spine of the wing, so that's one thing to point out, that's nice. But here, right on the kind of circular part of the, I guess, engine block or something like that, there is a connection point on both sides. It's the same, it's a mirror image on either side, so reasonably simple, but you will just want to be careful there. Again, just move with the curvature, as we always like to say around here. We have an absolutely gorgeous sword over here where we're not connected on the cutting edge of the blade, which is great. We're here on the back part, on the dull edge, but we do also have another connection point on a crossguard of a sword just there, so you'll want to watch out for that. Again, just be careful, don't apply too much pressure as you go, because otherwise you might snap it. We then have a connection point there on the bracer, for lack of a better word, which looks to be on the rounded musculature. Yep, so just be careful around there. Again, move with the curvature, as always. The weapon over here, the gun, we're connected on the banner here, twice on the top part of the weapon, so you want to watch out for that, because again, very obvious positioning. You'll see those connection points if you don't get them nice and smooth. And then again here on the smooth musculature, so once again, move with the curvature. We have one of the legs here. I'm not sure if I can see the other leg. Oh, the other leg's there attached to the entire body. And we're not connected on the front of the knee. So we do have just a nice, easy mold line to get rid of. It's quite a chunky mold line, actually, on that one. But it is just a mold line nonetheless. There's no kind of extra flash that we have to cut off with a knife or mold line remover. The body, we've already talked about it briefly there for the leg. We are connected right here on the thigh plate. That's a nice obvious place, so again, just move with the curvature, be gentle, don't add too much pressure as you're going, and the rest of it is a piece of rock here, here and here, so that's okay. We have the other piece of rock just there as well, which should just slot in there nicely. Just the Asserman one did really nicely. We have a, what's that? I don't know. We have a bit. We have a bit, ladies and gentlemen. Oh, it's the stock of the gun, I think. Yeah, I think it's going to go in there. So, interesting. Only one connection point, so that's nice. And then we have the grenade pouch connection point there on the end, so of the kind of little bit of belt. So watch out for that bit. You can probably just clip it there. It won't add too much stress to the rest of the components. There's a connection point there on the rounded part of the grenade. We have the head where we're connected on the underside of the neck, which is fantastic. It's not on the top of the head, for example. And then we have this kind of, I guess, part of grenade harness or something. I'm not sure how that factors in, but again, we're on 2 rounded components. So this is one where you're going to have to kind of just really move with the curvature of these pieces. Just be very gentle in your application of pressure to make sure that you get things nice and smooth. So we shall have to see if this takes as long as Asserman to build, and we can find out next. There's Baharoth all done. It looks absolutely fantastic. That is a very, very pretty miniature. I like that a lot. Cool stuff. Right, let's move on to what I think is another very pretty miniature. Fugan. There he is. Phoenix Lord of the Fire Dragons, as you can see. It's, well, he's absolutely massive by the looks of things. So, you know, let's have a look. Let's see, shall we? Doesn't feel like a heavy box, but none of them do. These are character boxes, naturally. Here we go. Let's get this open. Boom. Alright, what do we reckon? 14 components again? Maybe less, maybe more. It's like a game show, this. Aha! 40mm round base, so not as big as I initially thought. So there you go. And we got a bit of warping on this one as well. So you can see it there. A little bit. Again, not as bad as Assaman. That, I think, is a 40mm round base. Is this a booklet or is it a fold out? It's a fold out. So we are 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11. Where's 12? 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18. 18 components, so Fugan wins, well, or loses in terms of having the most amount of components here. And again, no options, as you would expect. Named character and all that, unique. So let's have a look at that sprue, shall we? Here it is. My goodness me. That is an impressive piece of basing. And that is also an impressive piece of basing. It might even be that it almost fills up. No, it doesn't. It's not a full scenic base. There we go. Anyway, so that piece and this piece, two pieces of rock connected around the outside. 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, and 3. And these pieces, 1, 2, and 3 over here, as well as that, they are also all part of the base. The flames there connected quite nicely on the underside of the flames, so not going to have to kind of smooth down any, well, what would you call it, tendrils of flame? Is that correct? I don't know. Tell me in the comments. 17, 16 and 15 as well, we're all connected quite nicely in just one place. And same thing over here, 18. That's good stuff. We do have another kind of half and half shoulder business going on here. So there is one front part of the shoulders, and I can't see where the second part is there. So you could be a little bit worried that there might be a gap on this one, but because we've got so many kind of extra details, so these spikes and things that are on the shoulders, they actually will kind of protect it in some ways from looking too gappy. It's not like a smooth flat line, so you shouldn't really notice it, so it should be okay. We are once again connected right here on a chest strap and then on the underside of the tabard, so some things never change. And then we're connected here on the underside, so at least we're not on the top part of the shoulders, which are nice and detailed and textured. And the same thing goes for the back part. We have one connection on the rounded part of the banner here, so that's different to Assaman, and then one here on the top, which is okay, that's nice and easy, and then here on the undersides of the shoulders, that's pretty good. We have a pouch over here where we're connected just once, which is awesome. We have the head where we're connected on the underside of that very long pin there, so be careful about pushing that too far down, you might lose the chin. You shouldn't, because there's quite a lip there, but it was such a long kind of peg to go into the hole up here, you can sometimes like sink them in just a little bit too low, so just be careful there. We do have two extra little sprue gates up here. These aren't so bad because they'll just come off nice and easily, and again we're connected here and here on the headpiece as well, which is okay because it's just on that flat smooth part, so it should be pretty easy to deal with, not too difficult, so that's nice. We have a set of legs here where we're connected at the waist and then on the inside of the leg, so it's not on the outside thigh plates, which are nice and textured again, as you can see, loads of texture going on there. So this is going to be great for contrast paints. We do have quite spindly little kind of fabric trails, for lack of a better word. These are going to be kind of quite tough to get that kind of smoothed down with the knife or mold line remover because of how spindly the connection point is there at the spirit stone, just at the waist. You can see it. So if you apply too much pressure trying to get it off like this way down, you will snap it just here. So you're going to have to hold it really carefully and just very gently apply that pressure. Watch out for both of them because it's both quite spindly. It's not connected here. There's air between that, so watch out because it's kind of just that kind of rounded part there, which generally tends to have a lot of pressure on it. I would clip here and here before clipping up here because again you don't want to put too much pressure on these joints here and here. We have 2 magazines for the fire pike. I think it's a fire pike. They're fine because they're just connected on a smooth flat piece. And then we have the actual weapon itself. It's very long. It's very pretty. And, well, we're connected here on the barrel and here on the barrel as well. And it's rounded pieces, so just kind of go with the curvature of it. And don't apply too much pressure so you don't gouge it out. And we have it right here on the shoulder. And it shouldn't be too bad because that will go right up in here in the armpit, I can't speak, so that's okay. And then here on the underside of the magazine and there on the wire as well. It shouldn't be too bad. There shouldn't be too much pressure on here. It's pretty sturdy, so that's okay. The axe does not have a connection point on the cutting edge of the blade, which is great. We have the 2 legs, and again we are not connected on the knee facing forwards here, so it's just Asserman so far who has that privilege of losing points there. So there you go. They're looking pretty cool. This is a really nice sprue, and these are very, very, very pretty components. They look awesome. So I'm excited by this one. He has been, well, I've been waiting for him for a little while, ever since he was previewed many moons ago. So the wait's finally over. Let's get him built. There he is, Fugan. He's not as big as he initially looked. I thought he looked absolutely enormous. I mean, he's big, don't get me wrong, but 40mm base. Should have known. Anyway, now it's time to build the one that I've really been looking forward to. The only new miniature the Aeldari are getting. I'm of course talking about Lycus, or Lycus, however you're supposed to say it, the new Warp Spiders Phoenix Lord. This is an absolutely breathtaking miniature. It is incredible, and I think it's a contestant for Model of the Year, honestly. It's so, so nice. Look at it. This is just what happens when they invent new stuff, rather than make old stuff taller. Anyway, we're now just going to open this one up. I hope this sprue is good, because I would hate to have to be critical. The proof will be in the pudding when it comes to this kind of energy stuff. Because if that's covered in mold lines and connection points, then it's going to be an absolute hassle to put this one together. So what's the guess? I think 17 components. Oh no. Oh no. Oh no. Right, so we're on a 40mm base. That's consistent so far. And we're into 20, I suspect. Is it going to be 20? Yeah, 20 components. My goodness me. Okay, dry fit stage before gluing. Interesting, I've not seen that before. Just make sure it all goes in, basically. Okay. Interesting. This one was always going to be a bit of a challenge because it is such an intricate model and there's a lot that's going on here. And I kind of forgive it for that because of how beautiful it is. But at the same time, it's a lot. So this is going to be a workout, I suspect. 20 whole components to put this one together. So we've got a lot of kind of dainty work that's going to be happening to get all these things lined up. Okay, let's investigate, shall we? Let's see what we've let ourselves in for. Okay, so the sprue is the flattest we've had so far, so that's fantastic. That's what we like to see. That's good stuff. So what are we thinking? Well, we have 2 halves of the kind of, I guess it's like a web way portal. It looks like a spider's web, basically. And it does come in two parts, here and here. Now, we do have quite a few connection points on this. So we've got one here on the rock, one in the energy, one here on a rock, one here in the energy, and one here in the energy, and one here on a rock. And one here on the underside of the rock as well. Same goes for here. We're on rock, rock, rock. Here on a rock, bit of energy, bit of energy. So that's going to be one of those kinds of things where for component 17 and 18, you're going to want to kind of really just study the piece and make sure that you've got all of that extra flash, because it will be really obvious if you accidentally leave a piece behind, especially on the energy. And based on the way these rocks are shaped and what we saw in the instructions there, a lot of these are going to be connecting things together. And if one thing is out of whack, then the whole thing will be difficult to put together. It won't quite marry up. So it's going to be quite interesting in that regard. We have more of the energy here. So similarly here, that's another connection point in what looks like a bit of rock. So again, that is going to connect to one of these pieces. Maybe that one, maybe that one, maybe one of those. The reason this is important again is so that we make sure we get a flush fit. So don't take too much off, but just be really careful and make sure you get all of it. We have the sword here. We're not connected on the cutting edge, so perfect. Brilliant. Love to see it. The head, we're connected on the side, so it's not quite as bad as it being right on the top of the head, but that's okay, just about. It would have been nicer to see it on the underside of the neck, but I understand that's not always possible, because the head then slops into this jobby, and that's, well, that's why you don't have a connection point on the other side of the neck, to make sure that gets nice and flush, I would imagine. There is a connection point right there in between two, for lack of a better word, rivets or tiny lumps, and that's going to be quite congested, so you're going to be really careful not to accidentally cut one of those off. There is quite a meaty mold line on that piece there on component number 10. There's a really long peg here as well, so that is, again, just like with the other one, you shouldn't, with Fugan, shouldn't have to worry too much about it because it's quite a wide head, but just don't press too much because you might end up accidentally splitting the body or just being a little bit too sunken down more so than you perhaps want it to be. We have one of the arms here, one of the many arms, and that is just got a single connection point there on a peg, which is absolutely lovely. But again, we have quite a significant mold line on it. Oh no, I think we might be having a problem here with mold lines. It seems to vary component to component, which is interesting. You don't normally see that. It's normally all are bad or none of them are that bad. Okay, well, I think it's because this energy stuff kind of crosses the plane. So there might be some slightly weirdly placed mold lines on these two bits on the web. We have the main legs. We're connected right here on the outside of the thigh, right, and then here on the underside. So this one's not so bad because it should be hidden mostly by the rest of the build. But this one you will want to be really careful because that is an outward facing detail. Just move with the curvature and don't accidentally take off the lumps in the armor. We didn't finish talking about this piece. We just got two more connection points on the piece of the, well, on the armor panel there, which is absolutely perfect. We have a bit of rock here. These are not extra bits of sprue or flash. These are meant to be there, these two little pebbles here and here, there and there. Keep them, do not accidentally cut them off, but otherwise we're connected around the outside, there, there and there, which is absolutely fine. With the main body here, and then we have a big no-no here. We have a mold line actually going through the hair, and then a big old chunky connection point in the hair as well, so that's going to be a little bit tricky. The reason it's going to be a little bit tricky is we don't want to accidentally take off too much of that detail, so just be really careful. You can see it's all recessed in like that, so at least the hair is in one piece, but you might end up kind of accidentally smoothing off some strands, so just be really careful there. Oh dear, look at those mold lines. That is a significantly heavy mold line piece there on component 16, where we have another piece of energy with a bit of the rock. So there, again, that might connect in. It probably does. Yep, connects into another piece, so you're going to have to watch out, make sure you get that, otherwise it will not be a flush fit. We have a body here. We are in half, but we're going to be covered up, so that's okay, here and here, so you shouldn't have to worry too much about there being a gap on those shoulders, because again it will be covered up by the warp spider assembly here. And then the last two kind of little bits and bobs we have, so we have both the feet here, which is a really interesting piece. That's cool. I quite like that. But we do have a connection on the kind of bridge of the foot up here, so we just want to be careful there and careful here as well. So because there's again very obvious there the frontwards, because the Lycus is leaping forwards like this if these are the legs. So the ankles will be very obvious if you don't get those bridge of the foot connection points nice and smooth. Just move with the curvature and you should be fine. Okay, it is a... Well, mine's covered in mold lines, so it's not an absolutely fantastic sprue. Your experience may differ. This is going to probably take the longest. I'm going to guess it's going to be a 40 to 45 minute job, this one, because of how intricate these pieces are. But I'm willing to be surprised. Well, I'm hopeful to be surprised, but the sprue isn't great. This is one's not going to be for the faint of heart. So let's see how long it takes to put this together. Well, as predicted, breathtaking miniature and a proper journey to build. There it is. Lycus, however you're supposed to say it. It looks amazing. It's going to look even better when it's painted. So, that's all 4 of our Phoenix Lords. Done. So, what's next? Well, I'm going to reach into my box of tricks and pull out the first one, which is... Oh, Swooping Hawks. Here it is. So, these are a slightly different colour scheme to what we've seen before from the Swooping Hawks. They've always been quite bright, so we might actually do a tutorial on these. Let's flip it over. Let's have a look. Ah, yes, there you go. That's the kind of classic scheme right there. We've got some variants here. This one's really nice. Maybe we'll do that. That's really nice. Okay, well, feels like there is a use case to do a tutorial for the Swooping Hawks, because we already have how to paint Swooping Hawks. You can see that here on the channel. What's the vibe? That's it. Cool. So we get 1 and 2 sprues. They don't look identical. Nope, they're not identical, so that's good. We get a set of 32mm bases, 5, and 1 for the shrine. We get a transfer sheet. Is it going to be a new one? Ooh. It is not. It is 2022. This is a 2-year-old transfer sheet, but why fix what ain't broke? So there you go. That is the classic Aeldari Craftwoods transfer sheet. And now we have our instructions. So what are we looking at here? Oh, we do indeed have some options here. We have what looks to be a couple of different options for the Swooping Hawk X-Arc. So 1, 2, and 3. Oh, of course, we do actually have a weapon option here and there. We have one with the gun across and one holding the gun up. That's pretty cool. Not sure which one we'll go for. So we'll just do whatever my heart tells me. And then you can build the Swooping Hawk X-Arc as a normal Swooping Hawk if you so choose. 32mm and 25mm bases. I was correct in my assumptions. Right, the first one consists of 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6... 7, 8, 9, 10, 11 components, 12 components, including a head, maybe, something in that era. So, well, these might be quite an intense build operation if it's going to be that many components per one. So this is how you build up your first part, and then it should just be a case of there should see 4 more at least. And we got optional extras here. We've got a blue and a green track. We've got a blue and a green track here as well. That's our next one, so that's 3. We've got just your sort of regular one here, 4. Do we have another one on this page? And number 5. Yeah, so a couple of them can be built in optional ways, and a couple of them can't. So there you go. That's how the cookie crumbles, I guess. Oh, it's a different weapon. That's why. Well, I mean, this is a really pretty scheme right here. And I already know exactly how I would paint that. I also have a rough idea how I would do that as well. But this is really pretty. I like that. Maybe we'll just have to pick one and move with it. The aspect shrine token here as well is just in one single piece. You don't have to do any assembly for the aspect shrine token, so that's a good thing. Right. Oh, we have optional heads as well. 44 and 45. I guess that's helmeted versus unhelmeted by the looks of things. Yeah. Looks like that's the same for everything. Optional guns, optional things. Yeah, just a bunch of reposability. So you should be able to at least fit in a unit of 10 that all look different. So that's cool. Right, let's have a look at these sprues, shall we? Sprue number 1. There it is. Behold. Right, I don't really know exactly what we're looking for here. Aeldari are always a bit of a mystery. You can sometimes get really good ones and sometimes get really annoying ones when it comes to their units. But then we don't really have that many plastic ones after all. So there we go. Well, we do now. They're all done. There's no more left to come. Anyway, so we have wings and stuff, naturally, as you would expect for the Swooping Hawks 1, 2, 3, and 4. They seem to be relatively uniformly connected. We have it right there in the kind of, well, for lack of a better word, the jump pack assembly here, where it goes into the body, based on my experience with Baharoth. The wings are significantly smaller than Baharoth, which is interesting. There's Baharoth and his wing. That is a Swooping Hawk's wing. So, truly enormous. So, there you go. The bodies don't look to be that much smaller, but I'm sure they are. Got to make them look important, the Phoenix Lords. Don't want to damage their egos. So, yeah, we're fairly uniformly connected. It's not textured wings, feathers, as it were, so it's okay. Whether we have a connection point on the end of 1, which we do. 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5, and 6. They've all got one right there on the underside. And then here on the actual kind of, well, the spine of the wing, and there, and there, there, and there. It's all the same, so you'll know what to expect once you've built at least one of them. The guns, here, 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 and here. Here and here. So we've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 guns. We might have more over here. It looks like we do. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Yeah, a bunch of different guns. So there's a lot more posability in this kit, which is really nice. It's really cool. So we have the guns are connected on the kind of, well, the main housing back here, which is okay. So it's curved area, so do just kind of move with the curvature of it. And then we're under here on the underside of the kind of, well, the muzzle attachment here and there, and same there, and same there, and same there, and same there. We then have a connection point on the arm, which is right on the shoulder. Now that generally shouldn't be too much of a problem because it will be hidden by the shoulder plates, by the pauldrons, so that's okay. Nice and easy. It's not kind of like right down here on the elbow, for example, in a really obvious position, and that is consistent with 1, 2, 3, and 4, and 5, and 6. So that's good. They're a nice shape, those guns. Bodies is going to be an interesting one. They're all going to be attached to tactical rocks. This piece of Eldar ruin is really kind of doing the rounds on the Eldar miniatures. We're connected on the underside of the rocks here and here, here and here, and here and here. And then we've got a connection point generally on the leg and in the armpit, generally. So armpit and leg, leg and armpit, leg and armpit. So again, fairly uniform in terms of how you're going to need to clean these up. As far as I can tell, the mold lines seem to be in really good nick. Better than all 4 of our Phoenix Lords, that's for sure. They look quite subtle, which is really nice. So it means that kind of less time spent cleaning up, one would hope. And that's really cool. And there's a lot of kind of nods to Baharoth here. So for example, like these kind of the jump pack assemblies, the wing assemblies. It's all kind of, it's very similar. That piece is very familiar from having built that yesterday, as we're filming. And we of course have these little belts and stuff that will go onto one of the legs, which I'm sure will have a groove somewhere for it to go. What I'm looking for is the spare legs. There we go, there's a spare leg. So we're connected here on the front of the leg and on the underside of the boot, so that's okay. Any one for any more? Doesn't look like there are. Oh no, there is one over here. I mean, there naturally is going to be, and there's one up there. So again, here on the front of the leg, here on the boot, here on the back of the leg, and here on the underside of the boot. So this is better, this is nice, because it's easier to hide when it's on the back. When it's on the front, it's a little bit more, you have to be much more careful. Again, move with those curvatures of these pieces, and they are very curvy. They are Eldar after all. These are not slab plates like a space marine. These are elegant elegant armour. Wraithbone armour? Is it? Eldar fans, you tell me. The arms as well, we're connected kind of on this sort of the gauntlet, well, the bracer here, and then on the shoulder. Again, shoulder not too bad, because it can be hidden by the pauldron, which is good if you kind of accidentally gouge it too much. And we then have a helmet, and we have a head and a head. Do we have any more for any more? No, it looks like that's... Oh no, we have head and helmet there. The point is about that is that they're all connected on the underside of the neck. Boom, 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 and boom. That's absolutely fantastic. Love to see it. No connection points in hair or on the top of the kind of lovely dome part of the helmets. We're going to go all helmeted because, you know, that's the sensible thing to do. And the fact that the helmets are all in good nick is absolutely fantastic. Love to see that. Right, that's a pretty good sprue. I'm very impressed by it. It's very dynamic sprue. These models look absolutely just streets ahead of where they used to be. They used to kind of all be dancing on their tiptoes on the old ones in their old slotted bases. So we have our next sprue here. Here it is. And, well, we have... similar things actually, so nothing really to report. We do have the Exarch's wings over here. This is slightly different, but these wings are all connected to the sprue in the same way as they were on the other one. The bodies are seeming similar. Yep, armpit and leg, armpit and leg, armpit and leg. Yeah, the legs are very similar as well. Underside of the boot and the top of the front part of the leg. We don't have any more on the back though by the looks of things. Oh no, we do over here. Component 37, excellent. Underside of the boot and in the joint of the leg. That's even better because that means there's less for us to worry about when we're trying to glue these things together. We do have an Exarch helmet here, which unfortunately does have a connection point right there in a textured feather. So we're going to have to be really careful around there so as not to kind of lose any of the texture on it when we're smoothing it down with our knife or mold line remover. As mentioned, we do have the Exarch wings. I don't think I finished my thoughts there. It's connected very similarly in the kind of engine housing down here, but then we have one on the spine there and there. So rather than the connection point being down here on the actual frame of the wing and then up here on the frame of the wing, we're actually two in the feathers, although again they are smooth, non-textured feathers, so it shouldn't be too difficult to smooth those down. The Shuriken pistol here is very similar to the connection points on the main guns. Laser blasters? Can't remember. You guys know more. As always, comment below. We have the sword here, and I'm pleased to report that there is no connection point on the cutting edge of the blade, so there we go. It doesn't lose any marks there. And we don't have a connection point on these trails, these kind of little fabric ties that they have sometimes on their arms. Asserman did. And that meant that when you have a connection point on there, so did Fugan as well, when you then want to try and smooth it down with your knife or mold line remover, you end up putting a lot of pressure on this very, very weak joint here where it's tied around the arm. So it's very tricky, so you do have to be careful with it. But we are pleased to report that we don't seem to have that going on here anywhere in the kit, which is marvellous. Same for this head, actually, in fact. We have a connection point there on this trail. It should be better, though, because that's fairly sturdy connection to the helmet, and once again we are connected on the underside of the neck. Same here for this head, same here for this head, except for that feather. This head, we do actually have a connection point there. Oh no, on the top of the bladed part. Again, not on the smooth dome, so I will forgive it. And on the underside of the neck, underside of the neck, underside of the neck there as well. Well, there you go. Pretty good. I think this is a nice set of sprues, the Swooping Hawks. Not bad, Games Workshop. Not bad indeed. But now we have to see how long it takes to build. Mold lines, very small. Components, reasonably well placed. So what could possibly go wrong? With our Swooping Hawks all done, they look pretty cool. It's a nice kit. They generally go together pretty well in the end, and actually the sprues were in really good nick. I really quite enjoyed that. There's Baharoth next to them, so yeah, quite a big special boy. So now that we've done the Swooping Hawks, let's move on to the next one. I've already picked it from my bag of tricks. We are looking at the Fire Dragons next. So what do we got? Ooh, we've got some alternate colour schemes. This one's very pretty. So maybe we'll do a tutorial on that. Lovely. Because, as we've already mentioned, we've already got one for all of this. So, let's get this box open, shall we? Ooh, 3 small sprues. Another one of those Aeldari Craft Worlds transfer sheets. The ones from 2022. Lovely. Go into the pile. Yeah, okay. So, what are we looking at? Where are we? Okay, so we get these much smaller size sprues than these Swooping Hawks, coming in at the kind of, well, these are the smaller than A5 size here. So, packed to the gills with details. This one's already pretty loose, so it's not going to snap just me doing that. But me doing that will do it. There we go. So we've got 3 separate sprues to look at. We should have a bag of bases. There it is. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 32 mils, I would guess. And somewhere in all amongst this, I think that might be it. The 25 mil base for the shrine. Maybe. We'll have to see. Yeah, 25 mil base for the shrine. So pop that over here as well. Right. Here it is. Interchangeable parts. Interesting. Okay, we're doing something completely different with the fire dragons to the swooping hawks here. So we have 5 of component 67, the helmeted heads, and we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 unhelmeted heads. We also will have an Exarch's helm. So 5, 10, 11, possibly 12 different helms in the box, which is cool. Again, we'll probably go for all helmeted because it just looks nicer. We have interchangeable guns, so apparently these are fairly static by the looks of things. And then the kit lets you build a fire dragon Exarch with the big old fire pike, an axe and a fire pistol, and then the smaller gun as well. Probably go classic and put the fire pike on it because it's cool. And then you could also build a fire dragon out of it. So let's see how this goes together, shall we? So we put together like this. Then you have your choice of weapons, choice of head. Oh, 1, 2, 3, 4 heads there for the Exarch. That's plenty of choices and decisions to make. And then you have the green track here instead, by the looks of things. So one thing that I found in the Swooping Hawks was that there was enough components to build 6 Swooping Hawks except for a leg, and I think that's the same thing that's happening here. So you see 5 and 6 over here, these are the legs, and component 8. They appear here on this one, 5, 6 and 8, but with a different torso front, 24 and 25. So don't fall for that if you're building the Exarch. Just ignore this bit, the green track, because I fell for it. I'm not going to lie to you. But yeah, there is enough components to build a 6th Swooping Hawk, but you're missing a leg. So you've got a spare leg, throw it on, by all means. Then you've got a spare Swooping Hawk, I guess. Then we build our fire dragons. Build 1 body, 2 body, and 3 body, 4 body. And then you put on your choice of arms and head. Really simple set of instructions there. I'm impressed. I like that a lot. That's very cool. That might mean that these don't take very long to put together at all, because each body is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 components each. And then we just add on 7, 8 and a 9. So 9 components per body. Interesting. Interesting, interesting, interesting. Okay, let's have a look at those sprues, shall we? Maybe it's not all going to be all roses. But let's have a look. Right, so let's go with this sprue first. And, well, here we go. Ooh, drop it. Here we are. So, well, firstly we have the Exarch's equipment here, and it might be that this is entirely all for the Exarch. I'm seeing component 5 and 6. I'm not seeing a body though, so that might be elsewhere. But we do have the banner here. We have the torso, the back of the torso here. So maybe there is a front torso. There it is. Yeah, 24. So I think this might just be one sprue for the Exarch, which is pretty cool. 23, yep, that's for that spare one, the spare body to build a fire dragon instead of an Exarch, so that's cool. 3 and 2, so more torso fronts for other individuals, I suppose. No, 3 and 2. One of those is for the X-Arc, and the 24 goes on the 23 here. Anyway, we're losing track. We have a fire pike here. We have the axe, but we don't have a connection point on the cutting edge of the blade, so that's great. We have guns, lots of guns. Fire pike has got one connection point on the long barrel, one on the frame, and one on the magazine at the back there. Very simple. It's all in a straight line, so you don't have to worry about kind of rotating the piece around to find it. That's really nice. We don't have connection points on the tassels here, or here, or here, or here, or here, or here. So that's really good, because again, we're not going to be putting stress on those components. So that's great. We love to see that. We've got a kind of couple of tiny things here and there. These are the kind of pouches and stuff, which I assume will go on the X-Arc, because I didn't see pouches as an option for anything else. But that's, you know, we've had that so far with the Swooping Hawk. We've had that with all of them, to be fair, with every model that we've built so far. So just watch out for them. I mean, that's where they are, 8 and 9. They're small and diddy, and they're down there. So just keep an eye out for that. One thing I will point out, though, is that the banner here has got an egg in the middle of the inward facing piece where it's going to glue into the back body there. That's meant to be there because that's your guide peg. Otherwise, there's nothing else that's guiding that in. So just be careful, just be wary of that. Don't accidentally scrape that off with your knife or mold line remover. We have a piece of rock here, presumably for the X-Arc. Same here as well. Cool little pieces. Again, just connected around the outside. That's very nice. We have a pouch up here and stuff like that. And yeah, it's in pretty good nick. These torsos, we are connected on the top of them though. Here, these front plates, I will say, kind of on the front of those pauldrons, right up against where it's going to glue in to the back piece here. So you want to watch out for that, because that might cause you some issues assembling. If you take too much of it off, you will definitely get a gap or a lump. So you might want to just kind of smooth them down together. So once you've kind of clipped out the ones that you want, say we're going to go for component 3 and 1 and put them together, you might just want to use your knife or mold line remover along the seam just to make sure it's nice and flush and kind of smoothed down together. So there you go. That is sprue number 1. Bodies, it's pretty much the same feedback that we've had so far. We have connection points on thighs and stuff like that. This one's right on the top of the body, which is interesting to see. But there we go. Same thing for up here, right on the top of the shoulder. So that's just kind of going to be one of those very obvious outward-facing details that you want to watch out for, and make sure you're just, again, not gouging it, or that you definitely take that extra flash off, because there will be some when you clip it out. So just watch out for that. We'll see if that's consistent though across the rest of the Fire Dragons kit. I hope it's not, although it does look like it is. So here is sprue number 2. Let's get that one in focus, shall we? There we go. So we have another torso, another torso, another torso, where we are connected very similarly. Got one on the leg, one on the leg, one on the leg, one on the top, one on the top, one on the top, which will then have a torso front plate glued into it, which we have here, which is connected on top of the pauldron again. Same here, top of the pauldrons and stuff like that. Got a couple of pouches here and there, 27 and 37, so these are fairly consistent throughout the range. And then we have some more of the guns, the Inferno pistol blaster things. Can't remember what they're called. Fusion guns, I think they are. Can't remember. So we have the connection point on the top of the casing and then one on the arm. So we could have maybe gotten away with having just 2 on the gun, because these are weighty enough, but it is what it is. 1, 2, 3, 4. 4 of the fusion guns are here, so that's cool to see. Looking great. The backpacks are the same, 1, 2 and 3. We don't have the little missing egg though, because we don't have extra banners for all of our miniatures here, so that makes sense to me. And again, we don't have any connection points on tassels for arms, so here, here, here and here we don't have it. We don't have one on this one either, or here as well, so that is pretty good to me. Finally, we have the other one, and again, not anticipating anything particularly stirring about this one, but this is where we find our heads. So this is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 12 heads, 13 heads, I think, as far as I can see, all counted. Looking pretty good. We are connected on the underside of the neck and on the back of their kind of fins, or mohawks. The Dire Avengers have a furry one, but the most of it, everybody else just has a solid one. We do have a connection point on the back there, but it's a hard kind of smooth detail, so it should be reasonably simple to smooth down with your knife or mold line remover. We don't have a connection point on this tassel for this arm either, or this one, so we do escape that fate. So generally speaking, it's pretty good. The non-helmeted heads are really good because they only have a connection point on the underside of the neck, not up in the hair and all that kind of thing, so that's excellent. Again, we have another little kind of grenade pack just there, so watch out for that if you're looking for component 53. There it is. We have another leg here. We've already talked about this. Generally, they're fairly consistent so far between the Swooping Hawks and the Fire Dragons, so that's pretty cool. Not bad, not bad. This is a really neat little kit, so let's see what it's like to put together. I hope this will be pretty quick. It certainly seems that way. Go, the Fire Dragons are all done, and well, pretty simple. There's not anything really spectacular going on here. They are just fairly simple miniatures, so there you go. Lovely. Right, we've got one last box to look at, and that is the Warp Spiders. Here they are. So big question is, are there any variants? Are we going to be painting Warp Spiders? No. No, we're not. We have white for the Warp Spider jump pack, when it's typically black, and the helmets are typically white, so that would mean that this helmet would be typically black, and over here we have a black helmet and a bit of white. That's not a variant. Sorry. We're not doing another Warp Spiders video. But we are going to look at the sprues, of course we will. And we will build probably the X-Arc, see how long that takes to build. Like I said, we have tutorials for all of this already. So if you're wondering how to paint Warp Spiders, Fire Dragons, Swooping Hawks, then we have a tutorial available here on the channel already. I'll link it down in the description. I'll link the playlist or something. It is all there, so don't worry. I've got you covered, regardless of what happens. But there we go. So, let's have a look, shall we? What do we think is going to be the state of play here? Ooh. Okay, so it's like the Swooping Hawks. We've got two sprues here. So 1 and 2. We have a bag of what look like 28mm bases. I actually misspoke earlier on the Fire Dragons video, should just point out. They're on 28mm. They're not on 32s. We do have a 25mm base there for the Aspect Shrine token thing as well. And of course we have another transfer sheet. There it is. Into the pile you go. Lovely. Right, pop the sprues to one side and let's have a little look at those instructions, shall we? So what's going on in here? Interesting. Okay, yep, so we are 28mm round bases and a 25mm round base. And we're actually starting the journey down here, where we can build Warp Spider X-Arc. One of 3 ways by the looks of things. So there you go, and then just a normal Warp Spider. So it wouldn't surprise me if in fact these instructions are the same as the others, in that you can almost build a full 6th version of it. However, you will not have enough legs or something like that. We shall find out in just a moment. So here, for example, on the blue track with the blades and the blasters or whatever they're called, we've got 1, 3, 4, 5, 23 and 24, and then we build up. That's the rifle, that's the guns and the blades. That looks pretty cool. And then 1, 2, 4, 5. There you go. So you will not have a back of the thing and some legs. So just avoid the yellow track. That's not what you want, because yeah, it's just not what you want. It's not the next model. Then we build up the next one 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 components. 7, 8. One choice of that. No head? Or we put all the heads on like afterwards. I see. Okay. And then we've got extra bits of floatiness as well. Okay, really short instructions. It doesn't look to be like there's too much in the way of kind of individuality here, other than you've got your, well, an enormous choice of heads. We've got 64 and 65. Sorry, 64 times 5, and then we have 65 there as another head, and then we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 bear heads as well. We've also got 79, 77, and 75. All going into 78, 76 and 74 respectively, and 81 and 82 going into 80 for your Exarch. So plenty of choice for your Exarch's head, just like we've seen consistently throughout these kits. But otherwise, you're then just building the model as is with a choice of rubble and potential warp spideriness. So there you go. Interesting, interesting, interesting. So let's have a look. Here is the first of the sprues. So this one actually appears to have, as far as I can tell, most of our warp spiders on it. We have 1, 2, 3, 4 and 5 bodies all over here. Maybe the Exarch is somewhere else, I'm not entirely certain. We have 1 warp generator, and then we have 1, 2, 3, 4 of the kind of main gun rigs. We have the 2 Exarch blades over here. We have some of the bear heads here, 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 and not that one. But these are all connected on the side, on the ear, basically. It's not in the ear, it's on the kind of part of the mask assembly. But those are a little bit frustrating, because it's the same over here as well. We also have a connection on the side of the model. Could have been just on the underside of the chin, where we like it, where it's nice and smooth and easy to deal with. The bodies are much like we've talked about with all of the Eldar so far, and the guns are very similar as well, except that we're on the end of the barrel, and we've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. No, that's not fully connected. There is a gap there. There is daylight, as you can see. But 1, 2, 3, 4 connection points. 1, 2, 3, 4 connection points. So these are quite, well, robustly attached, shall we say. Like with the fire dragons, we have the torso fronts where we're connected on the front of the pauldrons, which is a little bit disappointing to see, but then we are in the kind of midriff area on the underside, which is okay. We have the shrine bit there. We have the warp spider Exarch's base just here as well, which is looking pretty good all the way around the outside. We've got some of that wispy energy that we saw on Lycis as well. You just want to watch out for this stuff because it can be a little bit brittle. Just clip it there first. And clip it there first, for example, and then clip under here. You don't want to put any pressure anywhere where you can't foresee a crack. Same on this one as well, to be fair. We have, again, legs are very similar to how we've seen across all of these Aspect Warrior kits. One on the underside of the boot and one on the bum. It's a little bit different in that we're not here kind of on the kind of shim pads or on the top of the thigh, but they're in pretty good nick, actually. That they're doing better than some of the other legs we've seen. But we've got 2 of the blades here and here. We've already mentioned those, and they have not got connection points on the cutting edges, which is absolutely fantastic. So that's great to see. Otherwise, it's a fairly simple sprue, this one. This warp generator, we are connected on the underside here and then twice on top. So these are the bits you want to worry about in case you apply too much pressure and take too much off, because those are going to be the top sections where you can really see any mistakes you might make during the building process. Just be careful, make sure you follow the curvature and don't apply too much pressure with your knife or mold line remover. So, we have another sprue coming up for you. This is where I think we see most of our warp generators and things like that, yes. So as you can see, we have 1, 2, 3, 4, and the Exarch's one just there as well. We have more guns, 1, 2, and 3 here as well. We have another blade there, which is cool. And then we have some of the arms, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. We have the helmeted heads, which are all connected on the underside of the chin, 1, 2, 3, and 4. Similarly going on around, I mean, these are the bear heads actually, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and 6. Interesting. And there's lots of different heads, at least. We have some of the kind of the bits that the heads actually glue into, here, 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 and here. These are connected quite a lot. We've got 1, 2, 3 on there. 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, and 1, 2 over here. That's not so bad. The X arc, I'm assuming, because it's got extra bits, is only connected twice. And then we have another 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3. So lots of connection points for those bits. The reason we point that out is because they're rounded, they're smooth, so you want to be rounded and smooth with your knife or mold line remover. And when you have 3 connection points, that just means you've got more opportunities to get it wrong. So just be careful when assembling. The warp generators are very similar to the other one. We have 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3 connection points. They're all in pretty much the same place as the other one. So, you know, you'll get nice and practiced building these. We have more rubble here, here, and here. Again, connected around the outside, so it's all absolutely fine. And I am happy to report that it doesn't look like we have any connection points on the tassels on the arms here. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 arms on this sprue, all escaping that terrible fate. So that's great. We like to see that. That's awesome. That's rad. Yeah, I mean, usually when we do a range like this, you generally start to notice the themes, and you will have been noticing them as we've been going through. There is the same kind of bits you have to worry about, and the same bits you kind of don't. But we are escaping most of the kind of cardinal sins around here of sprue reviewing, so that's nice at least. So now comes the time to figure out how long it takes to build the warp spiders. So we shall do that together. I might build more than one. I might just build one. We'll have to see. There you have it, a full sprue review of everything that's new. We've already covered whether we're going to paint it all at the beginning of the video. The answer is no, but am I going to have painted everything that I set out to? In this instance, absolutely yes. We are 4 for 4 on the new Phoenix Lord, starting of course with Fugan, the Phoenix Lord of the Fire Dragons. Here he is, now no longer all red. Got quite a bit of orange to him now, according to the new colour scheme, which is absolutely lovely. Then we have Lycus, the all new, all improved. It's not even improved. It is a brand new miniature. We have the Phoenix Lord of the Warp Spiders. Long thought lost, never spoken of. But here it is, at long last. We have Asaman, Phoenix Lord of Dire Avengers and various other things, I believe. Aeldari fans, correct me if I'm completely way off base, but there you go. Asaman himself, just the... yeah. Now we have Baharoth, another absolutely fantastic miniature. I think this one's absolutely spectacular. It's huge, it's improved, it's beautiful, and it's really fun to paint. I can't wait to show you this one because I think he looks absolutely amazing. Not only have we done all 4 of the Phoenix Lords, I've also, as a little treat for all of you, and because chat asked me really nicely, we've done 5 Craft World Eldar as well. We've done Ulthwé, Eandon, Alatok, Baal Tan, and Saimhan. So you can expect all of that content to start coming out over the next week or so. So let's talk about the sprues, shall we? So first things first, I think generally as a set of sprues, they're quite tricky. I was going to say complicated, but tricky feels more appropriate. You see, they are fiddly. They are fiddly little guys, and there's lots and lots of kind of recessed detail and lumpy detail, for lack of a better word, in that when you have a mold line, it takes a while to get it all off. So in that regard, they are quite fiddly and tricksy to put together. And that's just as a rule across all of them. Now, I don't know if that's necessarily a thing to beat them down with. I think what I would say is it is a darn sight improvement on the fine cast that was before, but the fine cast that was before was complicated by the material that it was working with. These guys are complicated by the nature of the kits themselves. So it's a different kind of replacement of complexity, if you will, but that's not necessarily a bad thing. I think generally they go together pretty well. The only one that has a slightly dodgy time of it is Lycus. Actually attaching that web thing to the base was a little bit tricky at times, but it's okay. You know, it's not too bad. Generally they go together pretty well though. The Swooping Hawks absolutely surprised me as to how well they actually got together, especially given that the wings were two separate wings. But I think you can tell by having watched the video just quite how complicated some of these characters are to put together. I'm looking at the list of times here and nothing's less than half an hour. So, you know, approach that with what you will. I think that's generally down to one, amount of components, two, there's mold lines, but the mold lines aren't like huge and chunky. It's just that they're there, and because they kind of go over this really kind of detailed surface all the way up a leg, for example, that it takes a little bit longer to just deal with that and smooth it down. And not in a bad way, but just like I said, it's a replacement of complexity from material to technique, essentially. I think the kit I was most surprised by, though, was the Fire Dragons. Fire Dragons went together really easily, and they probably should for something that is actually quite a plain kit. I said plain. They're not the most dynamic of models, is essentially what I'm getting at. It's an elf with a melter gun. It doesn't really kind of, you know, get much more complex than that. So, bearing that in mind, though, they generally go together really quickly. The Exarch is the one that takes the longest. The rest of them, they're a doddle. The Warp Spiders are slightly different in that they are probably the most difficult of the three to put together, in that you have this kind of balancing act in terms of getting the arms in at the right angle. It just takes a little bit of getting used to. Once you've done the first one, you kind of understand how it works, and if you build Lycus first, you kind of understand how it works. But that is just something worth bearing in mind, that is where the kind of the trickiness comes from with the Warp Spiders. Now, I've painted so many different aspect warriors, but I actually haven't built Howling Banshees and Dark Reapers, so I don't have them as a reference point as the beginning part of this kind of renaissance of Aeldari aspect warriors. I also haven't done the Striking Scorpions, to be fair. So my experience is a little bit limited when it comes to the newer plastic stuff. This is kind of my first foray into it. Now, naturally, we have done Jane Zar on the channel before, and we've done Morgan Ra as well. So Phoenix Lord-wise, we're covered. But I think just generally, it's fairly familiar in terms of building those two previous Phoenix Lords, and building kind of these slightly more complicated elven kits. They do kind of feel like that, having built many a Lumineth Realm Lord and stuff like that in my time. So in that regard, if you love this kind of thing and this kind of stuff, it shouldn't feel too alien to you that they are as detailed as they are when it comes to the building process. I hope all of that kind of makes sense. I mean, generally the stuff that we look for in sprue reviews and things that we would criticize a set of miniatures for, they're not really present, which is fantastic. You know, we don't have connection points on cutting edges of blades. It's very rare that we have a connection point in an annoying place on the side of a head or the top of a head or right on the front like this. So it's pretty good overall in terms of the quality of sprue, and honestly I would recommend these if you're looking to get into the Eldar. I think they're pretty good kits. Obviously there's some things, and I think the complexity of them and the difficulty with which I had building them, and that is borne out by the time that it's taken to build them, that is something that I would, in my opinion, mark it down for, just by very nature of the kits. They're not simple to put together, unlike, say, and it's an unfair comparison, but unlike, say, a Space Marine, which is very quick to just pop together. You can put together one of them in about 10 minutes, should you so choose. But ultimately, if you're into Eldar, you're not into Space Marines, right? So there's a reason why you've chosen these, and that makes complete sense. So what would we give them sprues out of 10? I'm gonna go with, as objectively or subjectively, whatever the right word is, as unbiased as I possibly can, we're going to sit them at around about an 8 out of 10. That's where we're going to go for. I think it's a pretty good range. It's just, for me, with the building thing, I don't like building. So as soon as it becomes complicated and it takes me a long time to put together a Phoenix Lord, then I start to get frustrated and annoyed. But that's just me. Your experience may vary. Mileage may vary, as is always the case with any of these sorts of reviews. So, you know, I hope you found this one useful and you had a good look at the sprues and hopefully helped to inform you on your buying choices in the future. And I hope we made it through without me making my true feelings known about these models. So we have all of that painting. Who am I kidding? You guys already know how I feel. Oh. But like I said, I hope you found this one useful, and well, I hope you look forward to all of this painting content. Fugan and the like. The rest of them are here, it's just he's the one that's closest. So yeah, Phoenix Lord's coming, Craft World tutorials coming, and maybe at some point in the future we'll do those alternative schemes for the Fire Dragons and the Swooping Hawks. But for now I must move on to other things, to Pastors New and other stuff to do. So I shall see you all very soon for another sprue review, and I hope you have a great week. Thanks for watching.
If you enjoyed this video, you love the channel and you'd like to support me further, you absolutely can do so by heading to patreon.com/Warhipster, just like all of these wonderful, amazing people have done. And alternatively, you could become a YouTube channel member by clicking on the join button below, exactly like these fabulous folks have done, scrolling up on the screen before you. There are so many of you out there that it really takes my breath away, and I cannot thank you enough for everything you do, as without you I wouldn't be able to keep making these Contrast Plus videos. And if you really like this video and you want to send me a little thanks, just click on the thanks button just below this video. Don't forget to share it, like it, comment on it, and don't forget to subscribe to the channel, and to make sure you stay up to date, don't forget to click the bell icon. Thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you all very soon in the next one. Happy wargaming.